With the ever-changing global order, the main question arises that which type of government will sustain in the coming future? And the possible answer to the widely discussed debate is democracy. The recent trend towards authoritarianism suggests that democracy isn't as stable or strong a bulwark against tyranny as we might have hoped. To these objections, we can always reply in the manner of Churchill that democracy is indeed flawed, but less flawed than all other systems. From Colombia to Israel to Indonesia, often overlooked countries are showing that democracy can meet the challenges of 21st century better than authoritarianism can. Liberal democracy in its various forms and with its inevitable imperfection is adapting to different cultures and history and delivering. Human nature is not on authoritarianism's side, nor is history. The basic tenets of rule of law doctrine says no arbitrary and tyrannical rule, equality before law, and all citizens should be given individual rights, which suggests that in the long term, democracy will be the ideal government in the maintenance of the state. Democratic nations share interest in fair trade and security, and since they are more likely to adhere to agreements and norms, they make more reliable partners in both the fields. Their institutional and popular support for accountability and rule of law also makes them more practical and rewarding environments for public and private investment. Democracy allows for the collision of adverse opinions, a process essential to the pursuit of truth. It is the leading standard of political legitimacy in the current era as it provides equality, liberty, and justice. Democracy is also more than just an ideal. It is a practical engine of self-correction and improvement that empowers people to constantly, peacefully struggle towards that ideal. When one part of the system falters, the other can be used as a tool to repair and strengthen it. This unique and inherent capacity for self-correction is what makes democracy so successful at delivering long-term stability and prosperity. No democracy in the real world is perfect, and those demanding democracy in places like Cuba and Hong Kong are not demanding perfection. What they desire are the freedoms and the institutions that will allow them to create a better life and a more just society over time. Technology, along with advancements, are bringing some crucial restraints. Consider the threat to life and liberty that would be posed by an authoritarian regime that was able to harness the technologies of power for the purposes of repression. That's why democracy, along with science and tech, remains the widely discussed topic among the world leaders in summits like G7, as there is need to move from concentration to responsible democratization of technology. Technology can increase efficiency of democracy in new ways we cannot imagine. Democracy in today's form is not the final end. It has immense capacity to protect the global world order, provided it is rightly utilized. Rather than launching for a bygone era of expanding freedom, democratic leaders need to confront the problem caused by their past mistake and address the weaknesses in the international system that authoritarians have been able to exploit. Developing a set of coordinated international policies grounded in democratic principles while strengthening their own domestic governance systems will ultimately make all participating countries safer, more prosperous, and more just. If every individual is democratized in its own sphere, then democracy will be ubiquitous. The world needs India's way of democracy, from civilizational to constitutional values and to assimilation rather than imposition. As S. Jayashankarji said, that India becomes ever more democratic as democracy will become ever more Indian, both in sensibilities and texture.